Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. Donegal have beaten Dublin 20 points to 16 points in Ballybofey. Dublin taste defeat for the first time in 2025, and it is at the hands of Donegal. A 4-point win in the end for Donegal, and it never really looked in doubt. Dublin had some moments in the second half where they made it a lot more competitive, and certainly made it harder for Donegal, and there was moments after Kieran Kilkenny, I remember, kicked a brilliant two-pointer around the 45th minute. You felt like Dublin were maybe closing in on Donegal a little bit, but Donegal, I think Dublin maybe might have led at one stage early on, I think 3 points to 2, but Donegal, once they went ahead, we just weren't able to catch them, and Donegal were very, very good today. In fairness, some of their shooting was absolutely brilliant, and their accuracy in front of goal as well. Like, I'd love to see the statistics on it, because it felt like they didn't kick many wides at all. A wide range of different two-pointers in there as well. So yeah, very, very strong performance from a Donegal perspective. From a Dublin perspective, it's disappointing to lose the game, but I suppose it's not panic stations or calling for any managers to leave or any of that crack. You know what I mean? It's nothing. It's nothing in regards to that. I actually thought Dublin had some impressive signs, to be fair. Like, in the second half, I thought we played well. The likes of Sean Bugler again was very good. Kieran Kilkenny had a fantastic game. Greg McEnany as well was very impressive at wing back, and venturing forward at different stages. So there were definitely some bright sparks in there, some bright moments in there for Dublin. But Donegal, you have to give them full credit, because they were very, very good from start to finish, really, and controlled the game. They kicked, I think, 6 points on the bounce between the 10th minute and the 24th minute. A few of them were two-pointers as well. And once Donegal had that big lead, it was always going to be tough to catch them. They were very well set up defensively, defending. They sort of had their half-back line in midfield, sort of defending that arc, which Dublin were doing at times as well, and we're seeing teams do that now. So, blanket defenses and defensive systems are not necessarily gone. They've just moved up a bit. It does leave a bit more space in behind, potentially, for teams to sort of kind of put a floater on top of a full forward or something of that nature. But Donegal were hard to break down, and Dublin just couldn't really get the chances in the first half. We were just a little bit flat, a little bit sluggish, and it looked a little bit too easy for Donegal. I felt like Donegal didn't have to hugely work for what was, a 6-7 point lead at one stage in the first half. But look, fair play to Dublin. They did make a game of it in the second half. We came flying out of traps early on, kicked, I think, 4 points on the bounce. Con Basquel as well had a very good game, 3 points from him. And as I said, there was that moment when Kieran Kilkenny kicks a two-pointer, and you're thinking, right, we're back in this now. It's a point game. We had a couple of half chances maybe to get level, but it just wasn't meant to be. Dara O'Boyle, fantastic performance from him, man of the match, 6 points. Very, very good performance. Michael Langan as well in round midfield was outstanding for Donegal. Dublin just couldn't really get a grip on him. And obviously Patrick McBurty, who came off the bench as well, ended up kicking 3 points. So a lot of positives from a Donegal perspective. I don't think I still think Donegal probably have another gear to go up on as well, and that's a compliment, because to beat Dublin by 4 points without actually playing, it felt like there was another level probably still for them to go up on. And I think it always felt like they were managing the game. It always felt like they had Dublin at arm's length. And every time we looked like we were coming back into it, Donegal would just step it up another notch. But it was very impressive. Look, you have to commend the Mushy and Gallen as well, 4 points. And the thing about Donegal was they were always shooting in the right areas. They were getting the ball in the right spaces. There was no balloon shots or wayward passes. They all looked well drilled, well coached, well organised, and a very good performance. And look, there is a lot of hype around Donegal this year. People predicting them to win All Irelands, National Leagues, and everything else. Obviously, it is early days, and you can't really look too much into this. We obviously didn't get to see them last week because their game versus Kerry was postponed. But it's a very good start. 4-point win. And I think for Dublin, like to go away to Donegal and be missing so many key players, you obviously had the players who've left the panel. You're talking about 3-4 kind of key starters there. You've obviously got some players, away with Kula, obviously, for when they won the All-Ireland. You still have the likes of Cormac Costello and a few others to come back in as well. So to be that good against this Donegal side who, look, weren't that there. They still have a few players to maybe come back in themselves, but they were definitely closer to their best starting 15, I would say, than Dublin were. So there is positive signs when you get them players back in. And the fact we were able to make a game of it and we were able to actually push Donegal going down the home stretch in Ballybofey as well, which is always such a hard place to go to. I mean, they have a phenomenal record there, Donegal. I think there's some positive statistics. Killian McGuinness as well in midfield was absolutely brilliant. And actually in the second half, Dublin, in terms of turnovers and kickouts, won. We were absolutely brilliant with that in the second half. Kieran Kilkenny was catching so much ball. He was absolutely brilliant. McGuinness was outstanding as well. You would have to say Luke Bretnock, who came on, was very good. Tom Lahiff was very good as well. So there was definitely a lot of positive signs there from a Dublin perspective, in my opinion. But Donegal were just that bit better, and just that bit more quicker, and playing at home as well. It obviously is quite a trek for those Dublin lads up to Donegal. But yeah, so some positive moments from Dublin. And obviously still have, a lot of players to come back in from. Patrick says Dublin were okay, but Donegal were just better. Patrick says if Mayo win tomorrow, everyone is on 2 points except 2 teams. Wide open in fairness. Patrick says we can all agree here Donegal is winning this league. Look, I think they'll definitely be up there. I think I predicted Kerry to win it initially. It's a very hard one to know. Like, you feel like you can make a case for anyone really to go on a bit of a run and win it. But Donegal definitely do look a little bit further ahead than a lot of other teams at the moment. They probably still have another gear to go up on as well. And even, Patrick McBurty didn't start today, and he probably won't start a lot of the league games because you'd imagine you'll keep him wrapped in cotton wool. But of course, Michael Murphy at some stage is going to come back. Will he come back in the league, or are they going to save him for the championship? It's hard to know. But there certainly are still some good players, like Jamie Brennan come on for the final kind of 20 minutes or so. So there are some more players still to come back in for Donegal. In fairness, Dublin is great here, says, what happens with the games that were postponed? I think they're getting fixed for the 8th of 9th of February, from what I've heard. So yeah, like it would be interesting to see obviously how that goes. Couple of games, I think 3 games in total will be on that weekend. Patrick says go of YouTube. Thanks very much, Patrick. Much appreciated. Aidan says postponed matches are being played on the weekends. The other counties have a break. But yeah, overall, look, it was a good game. Like, it wasn't probably the most back and forth. Like, it was a very physical game. There was a lot of heavy challenges, a lot of fouls. It was very stop-start at times. It felt like just your run-of-the-mill league game, really. I think that's the best way of describing it. There didn't seem like a huge amount of jeopardy. Like, Dublin were, 3-4 points down going into, the final couple of minutes, and they were happy enough just to tag over scores. It wasn't like we, we're floating long balls in trying to get goals. I think we were nearly content enough with losing the game as it was. So it was just one of them kind of run-of-the-mill league games. Certainly not one that you'll probably remember at the end of the year. But look, 20 points to 16, high scoring. It probably just lacked that jeopardy or intensity or something maybe that a championship game would have. But look, that's normal at this stage of the league, in fairness. But yeah, congratulations to Donegal. Next up for Dublin is a trip to Kerry, so that's obviously going to be very tough as well. And I was looking at this, these next 2 away games, Donegal away, Kerry away, always going to be tough to get something from those games, which is why beating Mayo last week was huge, because you lose 2-3 games on the bounce at the start of a league, and you can be in a bit of trouble there. But yeah, definitely some bright sparks for Dublin, in fairness. As I was saying previously, like, you had Luke Bretnock, who came off the bench as well. scored 2 points. We used the ball well, and like especially with Donegal, like I watched Armagh earlier against Tyrone, and when Tyrone had the ball, you'd have 3-4 Armagh players surrounding the Tyrone players, and you know, getting the ball off them and showing that physical presence. And Armagh or Tyrone were really struggling with that. Donegal were doing the same to Dublin, but Dublin were still able to get the passes off. They were still able to make things happen, and they did show a good amount of fight. So I do think that's important to mention as well. Jack says interesting to see Kerry tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be a big game that for both teams. You know, and there could be a scenario, as Patrick was alluding to there, where you have you know, if Mayo beat Galway, one of Derry or Kerry wins tomorrow, you have everyone on 2 points and one team on 0. So you know, it's and that probably makes sense with how this league is. It feels like it's going to be very like that, where everyone's going to beat a bit of everyone. Do you know, that way? But yeah, congratulations to Donegal. I think Darragh O'Boyle, man of the match on TG Carr. You'd have to agree with that. 6 points, very, very good performance from him. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comments below. We'll be back tomorrow for some more videos and reactions to the games and everything else. So enjoy your Saturday night, and we'll speak again soon.